good Thursday morning, everyone. This is Dottie with today's cruise and travel news update for August 6th, 2020, brought to you by the Snood Factory for all the latest pooch fashions. Here is today's top story. According to Hawaii.com, Hawaii Governor David Ig announced a plan to allow mainland and international travelers to bypass the state's mandatory 14-day quarantine beginning September 1st. The procedures? Incoming travelers must have a valid COVID-19 nucleic acid amplification test within 72 hours of boarding their flight to Hawaii and must show proof of a negative test result upon arrival at the airport in order to avoid the 14-day quarantine. Mainland and international travelers who cannot produce a valid negative test result must still abide by Hawaii's mandatory 14-day quarantine, which remains in effect until at least August 31st, 2020. Violating the order can lead to a fine up to $5,000 and a year in jail. While acknowledging there are still concerns regarding tourism and the coronavirus pandemic, Ig said his administration is hopeful that pre-testing will work as it has in Alaska, allowing the state to welcome visitors without a spike in new COVID-19 cases. We believe this process of pre-testing does allow us to bring travelers back to Hawaii in a way that maintains a priority on the health and safety of our community, he said. Testing on arrival is not currently part of the plan. Travelers must get tested before departing. Aloha. Your papers, please. Other stories making news today. USA Today is reporting that the cruise industry has voluntarily suspended voyages in U.S. waters until at least October 31st, a month past the date the CDC's no-sail order is set to expire. The Orient Queen cruise ship is sunk in the port of Beirut following a large explosion in the city. And is it safe to fly? The latest article in Travel and Leisure has many different answers. For the links to these stories and more, visit our website, www.bestatsea.radio.com. And that's the Cruise and Travel News Update for today, brought to you by the Snood Factory, www.thesnoodfactory.com for the latest in pooch fashions. Stay safe, everyone.
Coming to you live from the Best at Sea Entertainment Studios in sometimes sunny Central Florida, this is The Big Broadcast with Tom Drake, legendary comedy magician John Ferrantino, the producer Dottie Kalasa. I'm BJ Odom, the voice of Best at Sea Radio, and joining us on the program today, Oceana Cruises Chef Catherine Kelly and celebrity balloon artist Susie. Plus, it's your birthday. Stupid criminals. Who got born and who did what? And now here's the guy who wakes up every day more worried about a frozen zoo than the coronavirus. Tom Drake.
All right.
I'm worried about you holding your breath that long there, Beach.
Well, the end was better than the beginning, I'll tell you that. But we're getting there little by little. Welcome to the Big Broadcast, everybody. I am pink today, pink shirt, pink face. I have no idea what's going on, really. You know, I had a meeting with these gentlemen, and good morning, Dottie.
Good morning.
Good morning. Meeting.
I did not.
You weren't at the meeting.
I was making stuffed cabbage.
I had a meeting with the, and everything was perfect, right?
Yes.
My video was perfect. My sound was perfect. And about 7 minutes before the beginning of the show, I suddenly had gremlins. That cloud started to come. It started to come from the side. So we're all good. It's all good. I don't think any show is ever going to go perfect. And what were you telling me? Good morning, BJ.
I was watching the Kelly Clarkson show yesterday. Yeah. A multi-million-dollar show.
Yeah. And what happened?
Crapping out.
The guests they had, because they weren't live in studio.
Really? Froze?
Yeah. I mean, they got her back, but I mean, it was no worse than the Big Broadcast. So
there we go.
We're with you, Kelly.
And didn't you tell me too that those faces they made didn't nearly look as good as John when John was freezing? His faces were really good. Yeah, he had some really good faces. They were like dorky looking faces. So
I was in shock every time it happened.
I don't know what happened to the pink face today. I know I'm wearing a pink shirt. Maybe that's but that's crazy.
I feel I look better when we first. I don't know. Must be something. Maybe we should move the show up an hour because we always look better in the 9 o'clock hour.
You know what? You're right. Absolutely. I'm actually thinking. I looked at how many people on radio, which is very few right now, at least that I can see, because they've all gone to social media. At 10 o'clock, everybody is on one of them because they can see it. Why? I don't know.
I'm going to tell you the best way to see this show. If you have a smart TV, do the YouTube thing, man. You're right up there on the big screen. We're like stars, baby, stars.
Only in your mind, BJ. And on your
TV. That's just a man thing. Yeah, come on, 70 inches. Uh-huh. Anyway, it's Ladies' Day here on the big broadcast. Chef Catherine Kelly will be here to talk about why spam isn't really that good. Yeah. By the way, Catherine has no idea.
Just don't bring up spam while she's on, BJ.
There's
BJ.
Every once in a while we use ham bits, so maybe I'll use ham bits.
Yeah, that's much better.
There's a funny story. Dottie has a cooking demonstration on longer cruises on how to make Dottie's mom's pierogies. And Dottie's doing the demonstration with a wonderful French chef. And I might have told this story 13 weeks ago, but who the hell knows? Renaud, he's now a corporate chef. Great little French guy, just the nicest guy in the world. And they're doing the demonstration, and Dottie has cheese filling in her pierogies. What the fillings are cheese?
Well, I do potato.
Yeah.
I do dry cottage cheese,
Yeah.
sauerkraut, and fruit.
So cheese.
But within the potatoes, I put cheese.
Yeah. So what happens is somebody asked the chef says, Dottie, what kind of cheese do you use in your pierogies? And Dottie goes, Velveeta.
In the potatoes.
And, well,
Oh, God.
for
he
the
was-
sake of the story,
Okay.
just you use Velveeta. Okay. There you go. Velveeta. And of course, the chef is French and the gourmet chef and went to Cordon Bleu and other chords, said, what is Velveeta? And the guy in the back of the room goes, you can fix a flat tire with Velveeta. That's what that is.
It's like telling the Italian chef, yeah, I put a little ketchup in for the tomato flavor.
Yeah. You do that, Dottie.
I do that in my chicken soup.
Yeah,
I
Dottie,
put ketchup.
no.
And turkey soup when I make
No.
the turkey soup.
You see, the gremlins are back, and I pointed it out this time. Nobody had to. Suddenly, the gremlins are taking over my microphone. Very annoying. So anyway,
And the green is coming after you.
the green.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
corner of
very
your
little
screen.
bit, but not.
Yeah.
It keeps going. It keeps going. Every time he looks, it goes back.
Somebody call Kelly
Like a
Clarkson.
It's like alive.
Well, it was the Regis Day yesterday, kind of Regis filming day, because I said to Dottie, it's kind of hot in the house. It's okay with me. And I look, there's no air conditioning. The thermostat there's nothing there. Well, that's great. And 2 weeks ago, I had called Airflow. They're the people that put the $10,000 unit in. And I said, I need somebody to come out here and double check the system. It's very hot lately, and I don't want to wait until it breaks down. They said the earliest is September because of the COVID-19. I have no idea why. Masks must slow them down. Because of COVID-19, September. I said, great. Schedule me for September, and I'll call you when the sucker breaks. So yesterday, it's not working. So then I call. And they said, maybe a guy can come tonight, maybe tomorrow during the show he would come. So I'm looking at no air conditioning in the middle bedroom, which is already an oven. So I discovered that there's a relief valve thing with a switch in it, and it was full of water, and it could drain the water out and clean the pipe and all that other stuff. I was Schneider from One Day at a Time. Is that the show?
Mhm.
And I got to run it again.
You put white vinegar in there once a month?
No, I don't. So,
Yeah, take white vinegar, half a cup, you pour it in there once a month, and that eats all the mold and everything in there, and it will always run. Yep.
Yep.
They used to say bleach. But now they say white vinegar.
Well,
It's really nice. Chris's best friend's husband is an air conditioning guy.
Oh,
So anytime I have a thing, he's over here in an hour.
But I actually use bleach. I poured bleach down there, and
Yeah, bleach works, but they say if you're going to do it over and over, the white vinegar works better because it's not caustic.
So
exactly.
So I also have additional lights on in this room now, so I didn't have this happen. And I don't have the really good Walmart lights that BJ has. I have a
If I show you what I'm using for a light right now, you'll
don't because I
die.
have $300 worth of lights in this room, and nothing's working.
I have a desk light and a folder with a piece of tissue paper in it
Yeah.
over it like an envelope. And my lighting looks pretty good.
And you're not orange. You're not orange. And you don't have gremlins chasing your ass. So how stupid am I?
My new lights come today. I'm excited.
Well, I don't know that. Don't mess with it.
I know.
Right?
Right, because
that's why I ordered on Amazon. It go right back.
There you go. Anyway, today is Ladies' Day, and we have Chef Catherine Kelly, and we also have Susie, and it's the Susie Show. I think I had her name spelt wrong, but it's Susie, Soozi. Susie Show will be with us at 11:30, and there's a reason for that. Number one, friend of John's. John raves about her, which means she's going to be a great guest. Number two, my wife loves balloons. New Year's Eve on a ship with Dottie is a lot of balloons.
Oh, my staff hate me.
I mean, balloons and on top of balloons. So we have somebody to talk balloons for Dottie and somebody to talk food for BJ. Now I need to get somebody on here that can talk gremlins that eat your nose when you're in the middle of doing a show.
And just a little side note, she went to college with Silky.
Yeah, I know. I'm curious to wonder if he's also a balloon artist. That college turned out he's a graphic artist, he's a balloon artist, and it's an artistic place.
She's amazing. When you see this stuff, when you say balloon artist, people are like, oh, what does she make, balloon dogs? No, she makes things that you just gotta see. Amazing.
Balloon cities. You should see these pictures I have.
Wow.
Anyway, remember everybody, the website. If you go on the website, you can watch every show. If you missed, like if you have to leave to go somewhere important, which is just about anywhere, you can catch the show later on Facebook. Obviously, it's also replays on YouTube, replays on Periscope. It's up there.
I just have a quick question. Somebody sent me an email about 10 minutes ago, and somebody for the Magic Ass Auction, and they said they were looking for Sarah Ballantyne's thing. How far does it go back?
Should be there, but if not, tell them to check Monday.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because it looked like it only went back like 2 or 3 weeks, which I mean that's a lot of stuff you got to put up.
Yeah, and I've been just nobody wants to hear you have your own problems. You probably have to wash your own mask. You have serious things happening. Anyway, so
put it on the dashboard of your car and leave your car outside. It's like an oven.
That's what I do.
That's what I do.
Let me tell you something. You're just tip heaven today.
I know.
Put a little vinegar in
I'm Andy Rooney.
Hey, you also put vinegar in your Keurig too. I don't know if you guys use a Keurig or not, but put that in your Keurig too. And that cleans out. A Keurig or whatever the coffee machine is.
Well, hold on. I was corrected all day yesterday. Culinary,
perfect.
Yeah, not culinary.
You can't say ventriloquist either.
It's
you
cooking.
say that. You say ventriloquist really funny too.
Who, me?
You, yeah.
Ventriloquist.
Ventriloquist.
I just say vent.
You always go ventriloquist or something.
I don't speak very well. I don't deserve to be the chair. I'm just the one that bought the stuff.
Do you remember that Steve Martin video? He goes, in order to be a stand-up comic, you only have to have a command of the English language. Yeah. It's like some people do and some people don't.
Yeah. Timing. It's all about timing. So anyway, there's all kinds of great stuff on the website. And this weekend, speaking of Sarah Ballantyne, I will do that. On the homepage, I will feature 4 Zoom interviews of people that I think this comes out wrong. No one's better than others. Funnier, maybe more interesting. But anyway, that's just so you don't have to go look for them. But then the rest of them are on the broadcast archives. But I will feature Sarah Ballantyne, Jackie Martland, Sarge, and Mike Wilson to start with on the front page. And I'll get it done or maybe sooner, because the producer has really jumped in the middle of it. She's quite the Wix lady now. She sits at the computer and moves things around.
I was so afraid I wasn't going to be able to understand and learn how to do it. And it's so easy. Yeah. I was like, why didn't I do this 10 weeks ago? I really would have helped them.
It's
you got the Mickey Rourke hair thing going too.
Yeah, you don't you? Yeah, you don't know enough tattoos, though. That guy is tatted up. He's a mess. Also, we are now following the contact page. So if you want to be on a newsletter, there's the Gremlins. If you want to be on the newsletter, subscribe, and Dottie monitors the contact page. We can add you to the newsletter. So we have things coming up. You'll know ahead of other people. Karen Pollock asked about a schedule. If you go on the homepage, there is a schedule for this week of who's appearing. I'll put it up Sunday night for next week. That's as soon as I can give it to you. because we're booking talent that have busy schedules. Am I right? And they can't always confirm.
Bill J called a couple of minutes ago to say he's awful sorry. He said they arranged the schedule and then was going to the dentist today for just a cleaning. And the dentist said, "While you're here, let me fix that cavity," and checked the whole side of his face with Novocaine. He goes, "I couldn't talk if I wanted to."
I don't care about talking, but who can play the harmonica?
He said, it's hard to play when you're drooling.
Yeah, can you
Hey, he might learn a new riff. We're talking about Name That Tune, and that was my fault for not getting it organized. And so Bill J was going to jump in the middle of it and actually cancel a deposition. He's a very successful attorney, but he'd rather blow the harmonica. Play the harmonica. Maybe blow the case and play the harmonica. So we won't have Name That Tune. You'll get over it. Now, next week, we will have a very good friend of Dottie and I, and one of the best, Mac Frampton, will join us probably on Wednesday, and we'll do an interview with Mac. He's a wonderful concert pianist, and we'll do Name That Tune. And Bill will be the following week, and I will be professional. We will start to schedule these things out 2 weeks, not 2 days, not 2 hours, not 2 minutes. So,
But don't forget, on Monday, we have
I forgot.
Stephanie Hirsch, one of our culinary chefs, and she was a personal assistant to Julia Child for years. And we also have Heather Sullivan on Monday, vocalist and pianist. And Tuesday is Steve-O, Iceman Steve-O.
Stevie rocks.
Yes.
All right. And who else?
You know what? I just saw something come up on Facebook. Do you know Nick Sorensen?
Don't.
You don't?
No.
He says, "Hi there. I host an online podcast called BuddyCast, and I was wondering if you would be interested in joining me on an episode to talk about your comedy and your online show as well."
Is he asking me, John?
Yeah,
BJ?
you.
No, he gets all of us.
From Erie, Pennsylvania.
He gets all of us. We all go on. He gets all 4 of us or none of us for his podcast.
And we will all go down.
And you need to ask him if he needs a professional voice to do the intro.
Get BJ some money. Anyway, today is National IPA Day. IPA Day. Now, I will be honest with you. I had no idea what IPA means. I just assumed it was something that some drunk came up with in Seattle when they started doing craft beer. But do you know what it stands for? IPA?
Beer.
No, there's a reason.
I did.
International.
No.
Pilsner. Pilsner.
No, it's
Association.
It stands for India Pale Ale, and it goes back to the 1800s when they were trying to ship beer to India from Great Britain, and the normal beer would spoil by the time it got to India. So they created this god-awful pale ale that would last a lifetime, and they stuck it in barrels, and the Indians got it, and that's why the Indians talk that way. It's from
So I was right. It is beer.
It is beer, but IPA, I hate it. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Now my son-in-law, he goes to breweries all the time. He is like big time into that.
Our friend Larry Eckert sometimes listens to the program when he loves to go to craft breweries and have like chocolate mint IPA dash of berry. Get the hell out of here. We were in Hoona, Alaska, at a craft beer place. He got mad at me. I said, can you order a Bud? What's the matter with you?
Oh, say that word in one of those places, they'll like escort you out.
Well, I said, are you bored? Really? Just have a beer. He goes, what's wrong? It's my hobby. Sorry, Larry.
Years ago, we had a sponsorship with Coors Light Beer, and Sue Kalinsky was there, and we went to the Coors factory, the brewery, and Adolf Coors gave us a tour. So he brings us into this room, and he takes down this little squirrely tube, and he picks up a glass out of ice, and he turns it on, and it fills up like a commercial. He shuts it off and goes, "This will be the best beer you've ever tasted." And he hands it to Sue Kalinsky. She takes one sip, and she goes, "Blah! Is that the swill?" And the guy looked like he was going to have a heart attack. And she goes,
"Oh my gosh!"
She goes, "Just screwing with you."
It's like telling the monkeys Dom Perignon.
I know. We were all in shock. We were like, "Oh my God."
See, I'm a good Pittsburgh girl. I like the Icy Light, Iron City Light.
Yeah, she's a big drinker.
I'm a redneck. Give me a Bud Light or a
I can
Busch.
get it down. There's ABC Liquors has Icy Light. They carry it down here.
Yeah, they have everything in there, right?
$6 or $8.
They have curbside pickup now.
Oh, do they?
Just call, boom, they run right out to your car. You don't even see them.
Boom.
You put on your credit card, they open up your trunk, boom, in there, you're gone.
Boom, you're gone.
Once again, John.
It's the ABC guy.
Once again, John had the information so far today. Put some bleach down your drain, open your trunk, boom, there's the beer. What was in the middle there?
What was the middle? There was another one.
It's also National Root Beer Float Day. So
I love root beer floats.
I
do. It's my favorite thing in the world.
I've never had one, to be honest with you.
You've never had a root beer float?
I've had one.
We used to
Are
make
you living
orange
under a
floats and
rock?
cherry floats.
Since I can remember, I've had the Zambuca floats. They're different. Slightly different.
Tastes the same, probably.
It's also National Wiggle Your Toes Day.
Okay, everybody on three. 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
There you go.
My shoes are too tight.
You know who's having a good day today,
Your
BJ?
shoes on?
David Say. David Say can finally take his feet and put them on display because it's National Wiggle Your Toes Day. Come on, David, put your shoes back on. We're doing radio here. One of these days, you're going to catch.
He's still missing in action, isn't he?
Yes, I hope he's okay. I really do. It's also National Fresh Breath Day, which I guess coincides with Wiggle Your Toes Day while you have a root beer float and finish it up with an IPA. So, all right, 10:23. Oh my goodness, that went pretty well. Well, half the time we did talk about next week's shows, tomorrow's show. We did mention yesterday's show. We did have some difficulty connecting in Spain with Terry Bishop, but we got through that as best as we could. Who was on yesterday besides Terry? Oh, Mike Mayone.
Mike Mayone.
Yeah, with his own. Very well done, BJ. That intro was. I thought he liked that. Very nice.
And his pitches.
The man who finds the mangled tattoos. Now, I just ordered this from Amazon, a brand new miniature keyboard and mouse.
Does it ring like a phone?
No.
Whose phone is that anyway?
It's like you picked it up. We heard a phone ring.
I forgot to unplug it. And it doesn't work. So I'm going to have to send it back.
You're kidding.
No, I have to turn it on every time I want to use it. Very annoying. This show, by the way, if you just tuned in, I'm not having a stroke. I have no idea why I'm the color I am. I think it's reflecting off my
pink shirt.
My Men's Warehouse shirt, who just declared bankruptcy.
Did they?
Yes, he did.
Get out.
And, because they're over leveraged. And remember, they fired George Miller, the guy who was Men's Warehouse. You know, he did all his own commercials. He was killer, but they got him off the board. And ever since then, it went south.
Wow.
I have no idea why I mentioned that.
But I have a wardrobe in my closet of Men's Warehouse if anybody's interested. This will never be going back to work.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm wearing that. Look, I'm wearing the French
cufflinks. Whoa.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, look at what I'm wearing. Can you see it?
New York Yankees.
Yankees, baby.
There you go.
We split with Philly last night.
Who got those for you?
You did.
Oh.
I have a star for attention. Birthdays. Wait for it. And then commercials. Like a real show. Maybe.
I'm just calling. Wish you happy birthday.
Do you find it easier to train your dog than the man in your life? Well, treat your dog to the latest in pooch fashions at the Snood Factory, www.thesnoodfactory.com. Our first birthday wish goes out to Napa resident John Salmon. We met John.
Go ahead.
We met John a couple of years ago in Alaska and then went to Greenland with him and his lovely wife, Dorothy, and their friends, Susie and Tom. We had a great time with them. Happy birthday, John.
And
Captain Leo.
He's the last conservative in Napa. Hang in there, John.
Okay.
It'll get better. All right, go ahead.
And Captain Leo Strazizic, one of our Croatian captains from Oceana Cruises. Happy birthday, Captain Leo. Great captain to work with. Back in my days at NCL, Clark Reber, who I knew him when he was at DSM, but he's now with Bahama Paradise Cruises, Tom, with Captain Hanson.
Maybe.
And we have Steve Bridison. He was a staff member of mine at Holland America Line. We have Stanley Levitsky, one of our musicians at Oceana. William Rubel from Illinois and Jeff Scalamario from Massachusetts. Happy birthday to you. All brought to you by The Snood Factory, www.thesnoodfactory.com for the latest in pooch fashions and fabulous facial masks for only $2. You get free masks with any order. And if you mention my name, it's Dottie, you get 20% off your first order and you get free facial masks. What more could you ask for?
Well, 15 seconds.
Anyway, we've got Gossip Goat Soap that you can order online. Gossip Goat Soap.
We'll be right back after this.
Oh, the shark bait has such teeth, and it shows them pearly whites. Just a jackknife has old Maggie bait, and it keeps it out of sight. You know when that shark bites with its teeth, babe, scarlet billows start to spread. Fancy gloves though, where's old Maggie, babe? So there's never a trace of red. Now on the sidewalk, ooh, Sunday morning,
And that's our good friend Michael Miner, and if you listen closely, you will hear a xylophone in that because that was recorded a few years back with the Elliot Finkel Orchestra, Elliot on piano and Ian on xylophone, and some of the best musicians in Central Florida that my friend Mickey Finn, Fred Finn, arranged for. And Fred, I sent you a message about being on the show. We need a banjo. We need Kathy Riley and the banjo. So I have to get, you know what, Dottie, I'll stick you on Mickey because you... People, I turned you off. I turned you off. Well, because
I can do that.
Do you pot yourself down during the break?
I don't.
Okay.
Because I don't say anything.
Well,
one of the Finkels on piano and the Iron Finkel on pastrami sandwich.
I forgot to cover this in the beginning there before we get to the who got born, who got done, who did what or whatever. Today's update about Hawaii. Hawaii will welcome you to Hawaii, provided you follow procedures, one of which is to make sure that you have a nucleic acid amplification test. Now, being the inquisitive person that I am, what the hell is that? It's otherwise known as a NAT, which is because it's annoying, but you have to have it. It's one of the 4 tests that are available right now for COVID-19. And so I went to Google and went to the Quest diagnostic site because they're right across the street. And I always have good luck with them. I don't know, BJ, did you tell me I always have the best phlebotomist?
I don't always have the best, but I usually have the best there.
All right. So, John, have you ever been to Quest?
Years ago, everything on Merritt Island was health first, so that's why I used it.
So anyway, it brought me to the Quest site, and they described the 4 different Roche lab site. There's 4 different tests that you can get at Quest, and this is from their site. I will tell you now, the average turnaround time, and I bring this up because John mentioned earlier that one of his friends likes the fact that John sometimes have discussions, and I'm on one side of the fence, and John is on the other side down across the street in a field. Just kidding. Anyway, the average turnaround time for the test is 5 days at Quest, but next week they promise 3 days. Now, if you're a priority 1 patient, meaning you have, a symptom, the turnaround is 2 days guaranteed, but will be 1 day starting next week. So we are improving if you go to a private lab. I think if you go to the state-run lab in the convention center and line up there, you probably wait till next year because much like the Department of Unemployment and the rest of it, it's run by the state, and no more to say. So I just offered that not as a counterpoint, but as a
no. That's what we were saying with BJ, why he got it so quick.
Yeah,
I went to a private.
Yeah. So, all right. So
now, you know what's really funny? Yesterday, I heard they're doing also. This is at what's the, and I know it's in relation with Tampa General Hospital, the university there in Tampa.
You're right.
FSU.
Yeah. USF.
USF.
Yeah.
They're doing this weird testing where they take pods of 5 people at a time.
Yeah.
And they put all their tests together. And if it comes out positive, then they ask all 5 to come back for individual tests. But if it's negative, then they just go on, and they're getting tests faster this way.
Yeah, it's contact tracing is what they're trying to push.
All right. The square at the top. He's just full of, he's got the answers today. I mean, he's like Mike Grief, but smart. Love you, Mike. I'm 10. I love you, big man.
Mike's listening, by the way.
I know
Mike sent the text before going, Martling was killing it. You guys weren't bad either.
Love you, Mike. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow is our cast of regulars or irregulars, depending on your point of view, as I say, with Mike Grief, the joke sniper, and Peter Bales, the smartest guy we know, and Joe Silky. And tomorrow we need a deck of cards. And I need not to wear pink again because I can't even look at myself right now. When I had a stroke, I didn't look like this.
You know what? I say just take your shirt off.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. Coming up in the 11 o'clock hour, we're joined by Chef Catherine Kelly from Oceanic Cruises and Region 7 Seas Cruises. She runs what does she run, Dottie?
The Culinary Center.
Thank you. Not the Culinary Arts Center, as I would say, because I'm a more Culinary Arts Center. And okay, let's get to this real fast. Who got born on this day? The show destroyer, Mike Greenberg, was born this day in 1967. You have to be a sports fan to know what that's about. He was one half of the very successful Mike and Mike show on ESPN Radio and decided he was better than anybody and got his own show called Get Up, but nobody did. And they still don't 2 years later and millions of dollars. So now he's going to be doing a national radio show.
Which one was he?
He was not the sports guy. Just the announcer guy.
It would be
okay. Yeah, I know who this. Yeah,
squirrely looking one.
The squirrely.
Right. Yeah,
we appreciate that. It's just unfortunate. And now Mike Golick is off ESPN Radio because they have a show with Keyshawn Johnson. Oh man!
What a piece of crap that guy is.
This awful morning show on ESPN.
For people listening who don't know who Keyshawn Johnson was, he was the Jets' #1 draft choice. He was so bad on the team as far as like Purcell said, I'm trading him because he's a virus. And every team he ever went to, it was the same thing. And now he's a sports guy talking about how people don't dedicate to the game like they used to. I just turn him off. I can't even listen to him anymore.
I don't know who's in charge of programming at ESPN, but I can't even. No, forget it.
Yeah, My
Okay.
show, but now we're going up against it, is First Take. I'm a big Stephen A. Smith fan.
Oh.
I love Stephen A.
I can't stand him.
Oh,
I like
man.
him
Oh.
because he every now and then appears on General Hospital.
I can't
Oh,
stand.
I love him. He's just he's a character. You know?
But they built the whole network around him now, and that's
He's the highest paid. He's the highest paid on ESPN.
yeah, without a doubt, because he generates the most. But good.
I hate that Scott guy who loves the Patriots. Oh my god.
Scott Van Pelt.
Yeah. No, not Scamp. The other one. The
What?
guy with the curly blondish hair. Oh, what the hell's his name? I'll have to look it up. Johnny's at home right now going, oh, I can't believe you didn't know the guy's name. Shut up.
Oh, you're 1 for 5. Not bad. The first 4 you just nailed
You
it.
know the Patriots guy.
You like him because that doesn't.
We met him.
Also born on this day in 1828. I did not know he was a Pittsburgh boy. Andy Warhol was born, and he was from Pittsburgh. I read up on him. Did you know when he was a kid, he collected Campbell soup cans?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I made that up. How much?
I would have believed it.
I would have believed it.
How much money did he make off a soup can? It's just unbelievable. Everybody had to have a Warhol soup can. They're very worth a lot of money. I guess.
Was there a studio called The Happening?
Was it?
Yeah, where they all met and did he had artists and weirdos and they all did acid together. And
Peter Max, I liked his stuff, but I didn't think much of soup cans and other stuff. But again, look at me. I'm wearing a pink shirt. You know what I mean? Pink shirt with Yankee cuffs. I am what's known in the business as a terrible dresser. On this day, 1911, one of the funniest ladies and someone that really created comedic television, Lucille Ball, was born.
Or show her respect, Lucille Testicles. I got 2 Lucille Ball stories. Of course I do. Right? When I was 9 years old, my father took us to California for our first family trip. Yeah. And we flew first class. And, Joe was you guys know, he was so excited about taking his family to California. So we rented a car and we're driving through Paramount Lot really slow.
Wow.
And he goes, look around for movie stars. All of a sudden there's a horn and we turn around and it's Lucille Ball in a convertible screaming out the window. My dad, move that car. I'm late for work.
Oh, that's funny.
And then years later, there's a circus in New York with all the people like equity circus players for like when they have acrobats and stuff in shows. And it's called the No Elephant Circus. And they do a charity every year to raise money for, people that have in show business in equity, I guess. Yep. And she was supposed to host it and she got sick. And they called me at the last second and asked me if I would fill in for her.
Wow.
Which was really crazy.
Yeah.
But she sent me a poster. I have it hanging in my house and it just says No Elephant Circus with the date. And she just wrote Love Lucy on it.
Oh,
kind of cool.
Wow.
You're right. I should write a book.
Yeah. Yeah. I should bring the equipment to your house. You should run the show. Well, I'll sit in the corner. Born in the state, I'm serious. 1902, Dutch Schultz, American gangster. He only lived in 1935. What is that? 33 years. There's not a lot of, there's an expiration date on mobsters back in the day, right? Yeah, I don't know if he was part of Murder Incorporated. I think it was Murder LLC. I don't think he ever got incorporated with his. He was heading towards that, but the lawyer was out of town.
They were incorporated for tax purposes.
When he said pitches?
Yeah, he pitches. He had what's known as a pass-through murder company. That's what that was. If you brought the gun out, you passed through. That's how that happened. All right, who did what on this day in 1890? Because we're zipping along, 1041, if anybody cares. 741. By the way, the people on radio, they're limited today, but they did get to hear the opening twice because I have to start it for radio, and then I realized I hadn't done the screen sharing. Dottie's going, you're not on social media. Anyway, on this day in 1890, at Auburn Prison in New York, murderer William Kemmler became the first person to be executed by electric chair.
Okay, so I looked this guy up.
Got one of those,
right? No, listen. I looked that guy up. He's got a Wikipedia page.
No way.
And it says that I thought you'd find really interesting. So it says that they tested out the electric chair for the first time with a horse. And it killed the horse. But then it says that they had trouble with his execution. and you click on it and it says, "This is unfounded information. If anyone has information for this to verify it, please let us know."
Oh, yeah.
So like what you're talking about. Yeah.
1890.
Yeah.
Anybody's still alive? But what they call the one in Stark? Old Sparky, right?
Old Sparky,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they had trouble with that more than once.
Yeah, they took that on tour too. They would come to towns
Really?
with that on the back of a truck. Yeah, people would pay money to see Old Sparky.
Did you open for him?
No, but a few times they were going to let me try it out.
Yeah, I opened for Crosby, Stills, Nash Young, and Old Sparky. That was a hell of a tour down through the South.
Yeah, they had a lot of problems. People like, they
It was awful.
they pulled the switch and the guy's going, "All right, what else?"
I read up on it, and I maybe I'm starting to get old, but I'm thinking even lethal ejection and the hell with it. I mean, the execution is kind of, I don't know where you stand with it, but I know they're vicious, nasty people that end up going to, getting done in, but just let them die in prison. I don't know.
Yeah, well, a lot of prisons are private, so they figure it costs a lot of money to keep them alive. Although they would rather keep them alive. Those people. But you know what? The crazy part is now with lethal injection. Here I go again. With lethal injection. Lethal ingestion used to ingestion. Lethal ingestion. It's from Taco Bell. Now,
oh, man,
lethal injection was a cocktail of 3 drugs. And the first drug used to paralyze you. So when you didn't really feel anything, so whatever, because the other one that stops your heart and everything is very painful. So you were paralyzed before that happened. Well, they outlawed the paralyzing drug. They don't make it anymore. So states are experimenting with different kinds of things, and it's been really brutal. People have stayed after the lethal injection alive for hours. Yeah, and they got to call it Vinny with a hammer to finish the job.
No, you know what? The suffering that they put off on the world, then you can deal with it.
Yeah, my wife's a hard ass. Don't get her started on that.
Yeah, they should give them what I get before my heart cast.
Huh?
Whatever I get before my heart cast. That's what
I think they should feel it. They should feel some pain and suffering as they die.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, look what they did to deserve it.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is
now they don't really worry about it because Trump pardons them.
Yeah. Stop it. Don't even start. How many pardons?
Oh, stop it. I just said that because you haven't said anything negative in 10 minutes.
How many pardons did Obama do? Anyway, doesn't matter.
I don't think any president, I don't care what, I think they should outlaw those.
Yeah, I agree.
On both sides.
I agree. Yeah.
They're never going to do it.
But they should.
You know how much money Bill Clinton got for pardoning that guy in Switzerland? Can't think of his name right now. Oh, I mean, that paid for the house up in Westchester. That will probably get knocked off Facebook, but I don't care. This isn't Facebook. Well, it is kind of Facebook, but I still don't care. Anyway.
Okay, Billy Prudhomme.
Yeah. Billy's already typing out the rebuttal. On this day, 1945. I don't know why this is in there. We dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. Next one. On this day, it was a terrible day. A terrible day for the people on that plane on the Enola Gay. It was an awful day. But I don't have an opinion one way or the other. Harry Truman did. He had an opinion. That's it.
70,000 people, right? And tens of thousands of people after from radiation.
Yeah, couldn't happen today. Wouldn't happen today. Not in today's world.
Next.
And 19, we've been there. It's been to both places.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to both. And it's very.
What is it like there? I'm really interested. What is it like there?
Very quiet.
Very quiet. I found Japan to be a very quiet country. Even if there was an accident, you'd hear the screeching, no horns, no yelling. They would just go their ways. They'd stop.
But is there actual bomb site there still, or where it had been?
It's a memorial park.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
A museum there.
Like 9/11.
That, but the pictures are.
Yeah, it must be horrendous. Horrendous. Yeah.
And this one, maybe this might make us viral. We were on the Nautica when the tsunami hit Japan, so we were forced to cancel many ports. And of course, there were guests. There's always one guest, God bless him, who only booked the cruise for that one port, the one we're not going to.
Always.
You should never do that. So we were not going to Nagasaki, and the guy was furious that we weren't going to Nagasaki. And I might have been at the bar. I might have had a few drinks.
Maybe.
And this guy was teeing off on the cruise line because how dare they? And I'm like, sir, it's a tsunami. It's for your safety. I don't care. I only booked this to go to Nagasaki. And I said, well, have you been to Hiroshima? He goes, I've been there. I haven't been to Nagasaki. I said, it's just the same, but the hole's on the right.
Oh, God.
And the guy got up. He looked at me like, you're a jackass. I go, I'm from Jersey. Whatever. So I just realized I'm not recording the show. Do we care?
Huh?
I paused.
Yeah, start now.
All right. Hold on. See if I can do it. Recording. Okay, now we're recording it. All right, start over. Hi, everybody. We're going to run a little. We can't run long today because Dottie has an eye appointment at 1:15, 1:30 with Dr. Hanslick, who happens to be Polish.
Yes.
So guess what? My
I always
house
take
smells
Polish
like
food
stuffed
for-
cabbage right now. The whole house reeks of cabbage because she made stuffed cabbage to give to the Polish eye doctor.
I took pierogi last time for him.
Who still
and
won't get a discount. But
No.
the whole place, between the room where the air conditioning's not working and the cabbage, yeah. and the pink
smells
face.
wonderful.
That pink face, man. Really.
Anyway, on this day in 1991, I did not know this. Well, obviously I didn't, but the World Wide Web made its public debut as a means of access, getting to web pages.
What year?
91.
91.
And I'm just trying to remember when I knew about the internet. I can't remember when the first time I thought I can go on. I remember getting it. I think Funny pays off at AOL I've had for 20 years. So what is that then? What years?
More than 20 years because we've been together 24 and you had it whenever
Always goes there.
I first met you.
Well, it
you
always goes there. It's always based on when we got together. Yeah. Well, yeah, that night. Remember? You gave me your email address. Remember?
There are still people that pay for AOL.
Yeah. Billy Prudhomme?
Yeah. I mean, they go, yeah, I'm on AOL. I go, you don't pay for it. And they go, yeah.
No.
It's like, what do you live under a rock? Yeah, there are people that still pay for AOL. If anybody pays for AOL, send us a text.
No, send us a
and
check.
then we will humiliate you.
Remember Netscape? I think I was with Netscape for a while. Then I went to AOL. I'm still with AOL, but I have it's weird now. I have company email addresses that I must pay Google for, which is really weird because they're the website, Best at Sea Enter, whatever. But Gmail is free. But if you have it the other way, it's like, I don't know, $49 a year or something to have. Dottie has her own email at Dottie@BestAtSea.End. You get a lot of emails?
No,
How do you know?
because I check it.
Oh, you do? I didn't think you did. Check mine, will you? Also on this day in 2009, Chief Justice Sonia Sotomayor was confirmed as a member of the United States Supreme Court. Now, she doesn't happen to be on the side of the fence that I like, but she's a diehard Yankee fan from the Bronx.
So we'll give her a pass.
I'll get a big pass because when she's home, she goes to Yankee games and she goes in right field in the judges' chambers with the people all wearing the
that's right,
robes
yeah.
because of Aaron Judge. Here's the United States Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor with a hot dog and a beer wearing the robe out there with the Yankee fans. I don't care how she rules. As far as I'm concerned, she's okay.
I was out in the outfield at, if anyone's ever been to Yankee Stadium, there's two ways to watch the game: in real seats and in the outfield.
Yeah.
That has a separate entrance because they didn't want you mixing with the other people.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, it's that's where the dredges of the earth. That's where the real fans are, I think. Though, really.
Well,
but I was there once, and there was all of these people in burqas in front of me, like 6 people in burqas with Yankee hats on. I swear to God. It was amazing. Yeah.
I just, that whole thing, you get me going on that. Women having to wear the burqas and the whole 9 yards.
But with a Yankee hat, they're really funny.
Yeah. And now with a mask. As we talked about it early on in the program, John and I talked about it weeks ago. I wonder if, the Muslim women have a problem with the COVID-19 because their face is always covered. They probably never get the flu. They're probably the healthiest people in the world, but hot.
I'm sure that's probably the least of their problems.
Can't argue that point either. There was something I was going to say, but we did get to go to the new Yankee Stadium. We were in New York to go to a Friars dinner, a Friars celebration of Dean Martin's birthday. He turned 100, but he was dead for a long time. But the Friars would do anything to make money. So they were supposed to have the thing at the Pierre Hotel, and I signed up for it, never got the tickets. And then we get to New York and find out it was canceled, and nobody was told because you found out later the Friars were broke. And I meant to ask Jackie if he's still a member because I quit when the executive director was arrested for tax evasion and embezzlement, and they kept him on anyway. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. So now we're in New York with nothing to do. So I went on StubHub, and normally on StubHub you pay twice as much for a ticket on StubHub. Well, with the Yankees, it's half as much because it's the seats behind home plate that are $800 a piece.
They're unbelievable expensive,
but they're not, because if they can't sell them, they're suddenly $400, almost $500 a piece. So we had 2 tickets, and then I couldn't do it all the time. Obviously, you can, but man, was it worth it! You go into the restaurant, which was amazing. It was a buffet,
beautiful
buffet. The service was amazing. You go to, and we're like 3 rows behind home plate, behind the dugout. I'm yelling to Sabathia, "Hey, Cece, move! I can't see. Move! Get out of the way!" It was really, and I give the Yankees credit because they would have taken your money and had some food out there. It was an amazing dinner, and then the waiter came down and took care of us, whatever we want. Yeah, give me another hot dog, give me this, whatever. Run back and forth. Zambuca.
Yeah.
That's where Bill Jay's company has the seats between first base, and home plate.
There you go. Big money. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, we're in New York. We'll have to hit
well,
them
I'm
up
good.
to 2
Yeah, you can hit them up.
What was I going to say? Oh, after that game, I ended up staying up all night, watched it in rerun because we were on TV. We were on TV, and I had my Steelers shirt on, of course. Tom's like, "You're the only one that would wear a Steelers shirt to Yankee Stadium."
I'll tell this story incredibly fast because we have 7 minutes. We have to get criminals in. But we were at the Friars Club having lunch that trip. Was that the one where you went after the security police? Oh, that
no.
Oh no, this one we were in town again. Don't go in when the UN is having their assembly. And we were staying in a hotel 1 street over from where Netanyahu was staying. But they still had our street closed down. Mm-hmm. So we had to walk in, and I go up to the desk. It was one of these boutique hotels. And I go, "I'll tell you what, Benny." She goes, "Excuse me, Benny's killing me with this security stuff." Benny, I said, "Netanyahu, my friend Benny." She believed me. She goes, "You know Mr. Netanyahu?" "Yeah, and it's annoying. I shouldn't have to walk down the street." And she bought it. I feel like Bobby Van. I swear to God.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's hard to fool a New Yorker. All right, we have 6 minutes to go until the top of the hour when we'll play the Cruise and Travel News Update brought to you by the Snoot Factory. And then we have to do commercials because we didn't get them in this hour. But
you
first...
didn't you after the... birthdays?
Yeah, but we should do it twice. And I don't need to, by the way. I do it so when we become incredibly successful, you get used to this because that's how we get paid. And then I can buy shirts that aren't pink. But in the meantime, I'm not going to announce it this way. If John has to run around and look, it's funny.
Time now as Best at Sea Radio and the Big Broadcast presents Stupid Criminals with John Barentino.
This comes from a friend of ours, Peter Sasso. Do you remember Peter Sasso? He had Rottweilers. You guys know what a Rottweiler is, right?
Yeah.
It's that huge dog. They weigh a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of a joke. A guy brings his 200-pound Rottweiler to the vet, and the doctor picks it up, and he goes, "Oh, my God, I'm going to have to put this dog down." The guy goes, "What are you talking about? The dog's really healthy." He goes, "No, it's freaking heavy." Come on. All right. So Peter's neighbor, this is a true story. Peter's neighbor went on a holiday and asked Peter to feed his 2 Rottweilers because they were guard dogs. As he opened the front door enough just to put in 2 bowls of food each day as he was instructed, do not go in. These are dogs you want to feed. The first day he went, both dogs were there waiting for him. After the second day, he went to feed the dogs and he noticed that only 1 dog would come to the door. And it stayed like that for about the next 4 days. When his neighbor came back for the holiday, Peter went over to see if something was wrong with his dogs. The neighbor told him that a burglar had broken into the house while they were away. Chased by the dogs, the burglar ran into the bedroom and climbed onto the upper shelf of the bedroom closet to seek refuge from the dogs. The dogs trapped the burglar there for 4 days. The Rots stayed at the closet and take shifts to go eat.
Whoa.
Then returned back to the closet. They held the burglar up there until a neighbor came home. The next day, Peter went out and bought 2 Rottweilers.
That's a great story.
That's a good one. So you just got to give me 1 second because I have another pretty funny one here. Okay. And I got it all pulled up, but I just had to.
Somebody do barking sounds while we wait. There you go. Perfect.
Where's the dog? Where's my dog?
I have him here somewhere.
Okay. A liquor store robbery quickly gave himself away after he entered a store in Pensacola, Florida. They're always in Florida.
Yeah.
And decided to write a note to the cashier announcing a stick-up because there was too many people in the store. He didn't want to say it out loud. He reached into his pocket for a piece of scratch paper and quickly wrote a note asking for money, which he gave to the cashier for a few minutes. It seemed like he had pulled off the perfect heist. The cashier read the note and quickly gave him all the money from her drawer. The robber quickly took the money and ran out the door thinking he was home free. But what he neglected to notice that he had written the note on the back of the letter sent to him by his probation officer. And it had all of his contact information, including his name, address, printed on the front. Within a few minutes, the police were knocking at his front door.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And the cops get to be proud of the closure rate they have. You know, I mean, cops in Florida, it must be the best place to be in law enforcement because their closure rate has to be excellent because they pretty much walk in and give themselves up, one dope after another. Very funny. And that Peter Sasso story is very funny.
That's great, right?
Yeah. Got himself 2 Rottweilers. They are scary looking.
That's the way Ronnie goes. I got myself 2 rots.
All right, coming up in the 11 o'clock hour after 11, later on, we have from the Culinary Arts Center.
Why'd you say that like you had a stroke?
You might have.
Culinary.
Well, because I was saying culinary, and I'm incorrect
Where'd
in
you
my
get culinary from?
my brain.
That thing you drain spaghetti with, what do you call that?
A colander. No.
Well, that's what you get dates on is a colander.
Whoa! Hold on a minute. That's a British joke there. Hold on. We're on fire today in this first hour. Put the pot up, you moron.
I had this conversation with my kids. I go, what do you call that thing you strain spaghetti with? They go, a strainer.
Yeah.
I go, it's a colander. They go, no one in the world calls it a colander but you.
I do.
I know. Everybody does.
I call it a strainer. Of course, I make macaroni and cheese with Spam too. So what do you expect?
You cannot say that when the next guest comes in.
Yeah, honey, get this strainer out to drain them peas right there. I don't want any water in my peas. You know, I got enough water in my peas. Leave that alone. All right, let's run the cruise and travel news update and then commercials. Sorry, I have to do it. And then we'll be back with Catherine Kelly from Oceana and Regent 7 Seas Cruises. That sounds so professional. If I could just get to the thing fast. That's my problem.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear.
update for August 6th, 2020, brought to you by the Snood Factory for all the latest pooch fashions. Here is today's top story. According to Hawaii.com, Hawaii Governor David Ig announced a plan to allow mainland and international travelers to bypass the state's mandatory 14-day quarantine beginning September 1st. The procedures? Incoming travelers must have a valid COVID-19 nucleic acid amplification test within 72 hours of boarding their flight to Hawaii and must show proof of a negative test result upon arrival at the airport in order to avoid the 14-day quarantine. Mainland and international travelers who cannot produce a valid negative test result must still abide by Hawaii's mandatory 14-day quarantine, which remains in effect until at least August 31st, 2020. Violating the order can lead to a fine up to $5,000 and a year in jail. While acknowledging there are still concerns regarding tourism and the coronavirus pandemic, Ig said his administration is hopeful that pre-testing will work as it has in Alaska, allowing the state to welcome visitors without a spike in new COVID-19 cases. We believe this process of pre-testing does allow us to bring travelers back to Hawaii in a way that maintains a priority on the health and safety of our community, he said. Testing on arrival is not currently part of the plan. Travelers must get tested before departing. Aloha. Your papers, please. Other stories making news today. USA Today is reporting that the cruise industry has voluntarily suspended voyages in U.S. waters until at least October 31st, a month past the date the CDC's no-sail order is set to expire. The Orient Queen cruise ship has sunk in the port of Beirut following a large explosion in the city. And is it safe to fly? The latest article in Travel and Leisure has many different answers. For the links to these stories and more, visit our website, www.bestatsearadio.com. And that's the Cruise and Travel News Update for today, brought to you by The Snood Factory, www.thesnoodfactory.com for the latest in pooch fashions. Stay safe, everyone.
You're listening to Best at Sea Radio.
Oh, how the snow is falling. Christmas is almost here. Break out the good china from Auntie's wedding, the stuff we only use once a year. Paint your nails and wear something festive. There's no such thing as too much tinsel or hairspray. Presents and eggnog, we've got more than enough to even make Santa Claus blush. Have yourself a Christmas.
And that's our good friend Danny Gafortz. I know I'm crazy playing Christmas music. I just love that
just
song.
like that song.
And I'm going to play it all I want. It's my button. Anyway, welcome back to the big broadcast. And it is Ladies' Day, officially Ladies' Day on the big broadcast. So to introduce our next guest, we'll turn it over to our very own cruise director on loan from a very, very nice cruise line. Take it, Dottie.
Well, the big broadcast proudly welcomes the young lady who originated the culinary operations, the Culinary Arts Center at Oceana Cruises and now Regent Seven Seas Cruises, Catherine Kelly. Nice to have you with us.
Good morning.
Hi, Catherine.
Welcome.
Welcome to the jungle. Did you
Thank
know that? Did you know that there was going to be a whole bunch of us, or did you think it was just going to be Dottie and I going, how do you make vegetable soup?
I have no idea, but it just sounds so cool. I feel like I'm on the Howard Stern show, you know. The quality of the voice is pretty amazing.
Well, you should have been on, 2 days ago? Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
The joke man Martling was with us on Tuesday, so
my gosh,
it would have felt like Howard Stern many years. Come on, you donkeys! Anyway, Dottie, I'm sorry I jumped on your party.
That's okay. That's okay. We're glad to have you with us, Chef Kelly, I should say. Yeah. And we have a lot of Oceana guests that have already remarked on Facebook and the different sites that they were so excited that you were going to be on the show. So everyone misses you, and I always love having you on my ship. When I'm on the Riviera our marina and you come out. Can you tell our listeners and our watchers, our
Viewers.
thank you,
That's okay.
how the concept of the Culinary Arts Center started?
Yes, and first of all, let me just say thank you. It's so good to be here. For all of us connecting in some way, it's just become so vitally important. And I applaud the fact that you're helping us all stay connected. I joined Oceania in 2000, the end of 2010. I had been an epidemiologist for most of my career.
Really?
And,
Wow.
and it used to be that I would say, people would say, what do you do? And I'd say, I'm an epidemiologist. And they would look at me like, okay, is that like a bug doctor or a astronomer? Or now everybody knows what an epidemiologist is. Everybody knows what we do. And there are more of them than I ever thought. But I had a great career in epidemiology. I created an internet company that was a great success and ran that, got a chance to work with some really amazing people. And at the age of 50 something, I retired from that world and didn't quite know what I wanted to do, but figured out that I wanted to become a chef. It's what I'd always wanted to do. It's why I went to medical school, was because my my studies were biology and chemistry, and it was home economics. And I thought, well, I don't really want to go work for a food plant, like Monsanto. Nothing against Monsanto, but in any event, I went back mid-career to the Culinary Institute of America, spent 2 years there, and graduated. And I had been a guest on Oceania. My daughter had wanted to go on a cruise when she graduated from college. So we were on one of the first sailings of Insignia down South America, 21-day cruise. And to make a long story that I'm telling very short, I got a request from Jacques Pepin and Bob, if I would go meet Bob Binder and help open the first hands-on cooking school at sea. And I had just graduated from culinary school. So I went down and met with Bob, and he thought, he tells the story that he thinks that I was angling to get a cruise for free. And then he realized, oh, she's totally legit. She's really, she's from the CIA. And so I said that the CIA had offered me a job and I had taken it. And then I spoke with Mr. Binder and I said, I'd love to do this, because I'd been on Insignia. I'd gone to every single culinary demonstration. I still, to this day, from 2006, have the little recipe handouts that they gave us at the culinary demonstration. And so I took a 3-month leave of absence from the Culinary Institute. And now I'm on my 9th year with Oceania. But to open up that very first hands-on cooking school at sea. And that was 2011, that was Marina. And it was such a great success with the guests. They just loved coming in and putting on an apron and getting out their pots and pans and making dishes and hanging out with the chefs and drinking wine. So the program, now for us is the two Riviera and Marina. And then we are in the process. I just looked at a design a couple days ago, the final process of the design of the Allura class ships. So we'll have incredible state-of-the-art vessels and cooking schools. They look like television studios.
Just fill in the blanks, Bob Binder is the president of Oceania Cruise Line.
Yeah.
And as would be any president of the cruise line, they assume everybody's trying to get something for nothing. Fill that blank in. And I used to make fun of the guests on Marina and Riviera when they would be in the culinary, the cooking place. Because I would see these men who ran corporations and built businesses from the ground up and were incredibly successful, standing there with large hats on, stirring risotto against their will. Then I found out it wasn't against their will. The men absolutely really enjoyed learning how to cook. And one of the reasons I asked Dottie to please ask you to come on is BJ Odom, who's one of our team here, a radio veteran for many years. He makes all the voices, the liners you hear, is also a part-time chef at home for his wife. And he makes wonderful recipes like macaroni and cheese with Spam and cheese.
Hey, don't get down on spam. I grew up on it, man.
All right.
Nothing like a white bread sandwich, spam, tomatoes, and mayonnaise. That's I'm a Southerner.
We begged him not to mention spam while you were on the show.
Oh heck no.
I just had to get that in there because I was really kind of reprimanded by one of the guys. I did the joke on stage. I feel bad for you guys. Dragging around by your nose, wearing a hat. The guy comes up, he goes, "Hey, I learned how to make whatever chicken something or other." And top of that, we went off in Italy, and we in Italy you steal the tomatoes. It makes for a better dish. They show you how to shoplift. It's the Italian. Sorry,
you have to be able to run though. You got to be able to run.
Anyway.
Now, did you know Jacques Pepin when he approached?
Very, very briefly, yes. I studied with someone whose name is Dieter Schotter, who just passed this year. Dieter and Jacques and Jean-Claude, who you may remember, Dottie, has been on with him quite a bit. The three of them are the three chefs that cook for the president of France, and they came to the United States together. Dieter is they were very, very close, and he was the pastry chef among the three of them. Okay. And so he said, "I need you to meet this guy named Jacques Pepin." And I had no idea when I met him I was being quote unquote interviewed. But it's been a love fest ever since. I mean, Jacques, I have a home on Amelia Island that Jacques and Gloria and the family stayed in for about 4 winters, because he comes down to Florida in the winters. He's quite a local celebrity on our little island. And now he, rents a house in the wintertime, and they're there for about 3 months. But yeah, he's just a delightful guy. But he's in our industry, he's the icon for technique. And to your point about former CEOs putting on aprons and cooking hats, our philosophy has always been that this is an enrichment activity, and that adult learning is really cool because at some point we think we're incapable of learning things. I have 3 grandchildren, and I'm teaching them to swim and all kinds of things. And you figure with children, you're just always teaching them. You crack their heads open and pour in whatever you can. But with adults, we sort of stop doing that. And so our philosophy from the very beginning was, this is a fun place for people to hang out, but we really want you to be able to go home and have proper technique. So how to saute a chicken breast, or how to hold your knife, or how to cook vegetables properly or grill. So I think that's been the magic, that no matter how foolish you look, if you're learning how to grill a great steak out back, who the heck cares?
And to your point, I've been trying to educate these guys for 13 weeks, 10 weeks now. And unfortunately, because we zoom in, I can't crack their heads to pour anything in. And besides, they're both bigger than I am anyway. So my wife could crack my head to pour something in. Right. But
Tom's learning.
I was speaking metaphorically about it.
Yeah, I know. But I'm originally from Jersey. So
Tom's learning new skills about hooking up wires like a child.
Oh, yeah.
He's the wire guy.
I'm the broadcast engineer for this train wreck 2 hours.
Oh, so you do it? You do the whole thing, soup to nuts, huh?
Pretty much. Anyway, some days. Some days. I am the.
He'd rather have the soup because he's going nuts.
When we started this program, it was just me, and it was to kill time while we waited for the vaccine. And by the way, I don't know if you have any kind of test kitchen. Is there any way you can whip up a vaccine while you're waiting around?
They're going as fast as they can. I mean, I worked after I graduated, got my doctorate in 1985 was the Ebola breakout, and we had the Legionnaire's disease as well. And then we dealt with AIDS. So this is a it's been interesting to be able to watch. I mean, a lot of the people that are associated with the task force I went to school with. I mean, I'm turning 65 this year, and a lot of us were in that same kind of infectious disease cohort, studying, and we were deployed all over the world. So they're working as hard as they can, but it is, it's a dicey proposition. I've never seen anything like this in the public health world. I was
going to say, back when you were in school, was this one of those doomsday scenarios that was ever game planned for or discussed. And we're off the subject of the kitchen. But I honestly, I'm sure I read your bio. Is that even included in your bio that you were?
Probably not. Yeah, most people know, but I try to keep it under a.
Yeah, it was in the Wall Street Journal article.
Yeah.
All right, because I can see the guest, starting the risotto going. By the way, can I ask you one more? I get
about my last Ebola breakout. Yeah.
What about that? Anyway,
that's amazing to me. That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's it was an interesting career choice, and but I've said when asked, people have said, why did you make that decision? How did you actually do it? I had wanted to be, I had wanted to cook from the time I was little. My grandmothers were both, we're a farming family, orchards, farms. So it was part of my life growing up to get up very early and help my grandmothers make the breakfast that we fed the people that worked on the farm. Would come in around 8:30 or 9 and have breakfast. And so I would have to be off to school, but we would have to have everything ready. So for me, just the joy of people sitting around the table, people knowing how to cook. I mean, I'm a real fan of the joy that sitting around a table and having a meal can make. And one of the things in the last 9 years that we've discovered in the Oceania Culinary Center is how traveling and then complementing the cooking classes, and then we have these incredible culinary discovery tours where we take groups of people off and we go to the markets, or we go to local restaurants, or we meet fishermen or olive oil manufacturers, or people that are doing sort of in the local culinary scene, even aquaculture farms. They get a renewed interest in cooking for themselves and going to the market. And we have to figure out how to fit these things into our busy lives. But when you have better technique, which is what we want people to leave with, you have a little bit more joy in the kitchen. I mean, I'm a golfer. I'm a bad golfer, but I love to golf. I'm passionate about it. And every time I take a lesson and I improve something, I'm a little bit more excited about going out on the golf course. So, and I have a great pro that's been with me for a couple of years. But I feel that same way about people that have left our kitchen. Like they're ready to fire up the grill, and make a great steak and understand how to make it, and then not be fearful if they're cooking fish, that I just spent $30 on a beautiful piece of fish and now I'm going to mess it up, so no, you're not going to, because you know how to do it properly. So I
really need to go on a cruise just so I can go to her class, because I'm the worst cook in the world. Yeah. And now with this pandemic, we're all cooking.
They do have cooking and books.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look.
Wow. You guys have been together a little too long.
A little background about BJ Odom. He is a heart transplant and kidney transplant survivor. And when he was born, his parents, unbeknownst to him, were told by the doctors, based on the defective heart, he might make it to 15 or 16 years old. So they never broke his chops to really read books and do anything, because they figured, why bother? And he defied.
Oh, BJ.
No, but it's a true story. I didn't do squat growing up. No one, if I got it, all the teachers even, babied me. So I never read a book. I read 3 books in my entire life, probably.
So that's kind of a running joke on the show that he brags about how he only wrote 3 books. That's why I said they do have cookbooks.
Yeah. 17 years and 4 months ago, he was given a new heart. And even then, every day is a good day. And then the heart drug blew out the kidney, so they had to get a new kidney. And then his diet, his diet's not helping either. No. The macaroni and cheese and the spam. If the doctors knew, they'd want the heart back.
He's like a bionic man.
Yeah.
We do sometimes break his chops, but as BJ and I say, it's just radio. I'm sitting here thinking, based on your background in how do you say that word?
Epidemiology. Just say Tony Fauci, what Tony Fauci does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. If you had to, you could cook in the full gear with the whole helmet, the mask and everything on, like for the outbreak. I would think.
A little too warm.
No, that would not happen. I mean, when you're in that with the protective equipment on, you're pretty much, hermetically sealed, or at least it should be.
You made me think of something. Tony's not the biggest guy in the world. Did he have to have his one custom made, you think? Sorry. Because he's not real tall. They can't get one off the shelf for him. They had to go to a tailor, have it made. Okay, Donnie, go ahead.
Catherine, you're the one that came up with the culinary discovery tour idea, no?
Yeah, it was actually, Dottie, you and I would probably be in the same family on this. We credit all of our great ideas to our guests.
Yeah.
Because I've gone to Dottie school. I know, I get it. Yeah. I've never met anybody that's more guest-centric. She sort of defines that. I had, in the very early days, I had guests asking me when we were in port, chef, where are you going today? And I would say, I'm going, to the spice market or the fish market, or I'm going to go try this restaurant. And they would say, can we go along with you? So I thought about that, and occasionally would take guests, with me. I'd say, well, yeah, there's room in the taxi or the car that we ordered or whatever. And it turned out that there was an enormous interest among the guests of just going where we would go, to the hideaway, sort of out of the way places where you'd have a very authentic local kind of experience. And so we now have over 65 culinary tours.
Wow.
We do in Montevideo. We go to a winery up in the in the hill country, and we have a authentic barbecue, and just hang out with the winemakers. And in Greece, we have a local family that is in their 4th generation of a taverna, and the current brother manager is a fisherman, and so we go to his taverna and we just hang out with the family and fillet the fish and make our lunch and learn about kind of Greek life and how they run a Greek restaurant. And in the Caribbean, we go to a spice farm where it's a man from India who built a spice farm over the last 20 years that in a longitude longitude that is the same as where he grew up in India. So seeing all these things that we use in bottles growing. So hydroponic farms, we go out in Slovenia to aquaculture farm with the Dr. Fonda, a 2nd generation biologist who's raising sea bass in a very sustainable sort of way. So, just wherever we travel, if we can find a really unique experience and take, it's a small group, but we take about 18 guests. They meet with us in the morning in the culinary center. We explain to them what they're going to do. And then we spend the day, and then we usually come back and have a little glass of wine and just kind of sort through the day and answer any questions that the guests have. But it's really fun. It's probably one of the most popular elements of our culinary enrichment program. But
I love the ones when you go to the actual markets and buy your ingredients, all the vegetables and meats and fish and cheese, and then bring it back to the ship and then do the class as well.
I like
that. Those are great because it's always in a language that is not usually the guest's first language. And so we give them an envelope with some money in it, and then it says, you're to buy like 3 eggplant or whatever. And then they have to interact with the farm stands. And at first they're very, very shy about it. Like, I'm not sure I want to do this. And chef, don't leave us alone and all that sort of stuff. And then, 5-10 minutes in, they meet these people and they're trying to communicate, and they're like, can you give me more money so I can buy more eggplants? So it's just, those are great fun. And then we come back and we usually have a local chef or a local culinary expert that is with us in the classroom. And so while we're making lunch, and then the guests all enjoy that with some wine or cocktail or something.
Wine is always involved, or alcohol.
Yeah, it's Oceania. It's food and drink. Is there anything else in life?
I was just going to ask you though, can you give me a tip for something to do tonight to impress my wife? In the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen.
Don't come home.
Stay out of it.
Well, is there anything? Give me some ingredients that are your favorite. I mean, other than Spam, what are your ingredients?
Really, we make a lot of salmon here. We
Yeah.
do salmon. Every once in a while, I'll do a steak. Like last night, we did ribeyes.
Oh yeah, good.
But I don't. I always like, like, how long do I cook this? I like mine a little medium rare, and it's always either done or well done.
Well, if you're cooking meat, you need a thermometer.
That's it.
Because that's the most important thing any chef has, because you can't tell the internal temperature of a steak or a piece of fish by looking at it or looking at the outside of it. So you get a thermometer and you know what your temperatures are. So if you like something medium, a steak medium, you want it between 125 and 130. So you'll take the internal temperature and practice. But what I would say to your question, if you want to impress your wife and do something that's really pretty bomb-proof.
That's what I need.
Yeah, we love stir fries. So even if you just have a saute pan, cut up some great vegetables, broccoli, snow peas, onions, celery, carrots, whatever you can find, because it's that time of the year. And then your proteins, so you've got your, if you like chicken or shrimp or a combination. I always kind of throw in a little bit of pork and whatever. And then, cook some rice, make, if you like whatever kind of rice you like, and then put a little bit of oil in your saute pan and saute up your proteins, and then your vegetables, put a little bit of garlic if you like that. And then just throw in a little soy sauce, or if you have any kind of Asian seasoning, toasted sesame, something like that, and then put it in a bowl real pretty, with the rice and then the vegetables over and whatever. And that, what I like about stir fries is that I like to eat a lot. So I like the fact that I get to spend a little bit more time with my food when it's, I've got a lot of crunchy vegetables that are nicely seasoned.
I'm hungry.
When I got divorced, my kids would go, I guess it's stir fry again. I felt so good because it's the only thing I can make really well.
Yeah. My actual favorite food I get asked all the time are eggs. And if I had to choose a last meal, it would be perfectly scrambled eggs. And lo and behold, I think that and roast chicken is Jacques Pepin's response as well. But I'm always impressed when somebody can make me a beautiful omelet or beautiful scrambled eggs with a perfectly piece of, toasted and buttered sourdough. So it depends on how fancy you want to get, but a lot of chefs will tell you that the simpler the food is, really the better, because the simple things are the hardest things sometimes to do well.
What will make a perfect scrambled egg?
Well, you don't cook the egg. If you're scrambling eggs, you don't cook it over high heat. It's medium heat. You stir it quite a bit so that the eggs don't stick to the pan and sort of cook unevenly. You want it to cook very evenly. And then the mistake that most people make is that they overcook the eggs. And then they get kind of tough. So right when they're kind of creamy and fluffy is when you take them out. So that, some people look at them and say, oh, they're not really cooked. Well, they are cooked. We just have a tendency to overcook them and dry them out. So really creamy, fluffy. I think I'm going to go make myself some.
I know.
Well, if you get really bored during this pandemic, if you just want to come live with me and my wife for about a week, we'll keep getting that. I've got a spare room and everything.
Yeah. I'm living with my daughter and son-in-law and their three gorgeous grandchildren, 5, 4, and little JR is 3 months. So my daughter is an excellent cook. My son and daughter-in-law are both big health advocates, so we're eating very healthy, and every once in a while I get to cook for them. I think I'm doing a Moroccan tagine either this weekend or next weekend. So, well, yeah.
Catherine, I have to tell you that this has happened. Harry Chittick was with us a couple of days ago, and we had a great time. And I know all of us could sit and talk to you for the rest of the show because it's so interesting, and the guys my mouth's watering actually. I'm actually allergic to eggs, and I'm ready to have some eggs. I really am.
This is how we get people to come back.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you on behalf of everybody, and Dottie should close
Absolutely.
it out. How generous you are to give us your time. We love anytime you want to, if you're bored and want to pretend you're on the clean version of the Howard Stern show. We would love to have you come back. It was really, really interesting. We have waiting in the wings a balloon artist. So believe it or not, a celebrity balloon artist who is going to show Dottie how to put even more balloons into horizons in the Oceania insignia.
Dottie, we're raising the bar here when we get back. I mean, I'm going to be there. I don't want to see it live.
But thank you so much. It was so interesting and fun. Just fun to.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm hungry.
Well, thank you all, and Dottie, thank you for the invitation, and I miss you. I miss our guests.
Yeah, boy,
I know we'll be back soon, and you know, I know that I know in my soul that we will. I'm in the dream phase right now of cruising, where I'm dreaming about the sail into Kotor in Montenegro, the sail into Istanbul, when we sail away from Miami, and saying goodbye to Smith and Walensky, and then we're off to wherever we're off to. So those days will return, and I think if we all have faith and in our public health community, that they will. They have a flashlight and they know the direction they're going. They will get us out of this cave. It just may take a while, but we've conquered polio. We've conquered a lot of things in our days. So we just have to be patient and listen to what they tell us to do, and be good citizens. And then we'll all be back having fun and drinking wine and going to cooking classes.
There you go.
Making balloons.
Guys, show Catherine your masks. Do you have your masks handy? Hold on a minute. These guys practice safe radio. They have them right there.
Is that the Jets? Oh.
Yeah, I have one too, but it's in my back pocket. Catherine, thank you. We have to run.
Thank you. All right. It was great talking to y'all.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Gary.
you. Thanks.
Bye.
How do you do it, or am I doing it?
I'll do it.
Okay, you got it. All right, I'm going to take just a short break. We'll be right back if I can get this thing to work. Unbelievable.
You're listening to Best at Sea Radio.
I don't know what it is. Same song. I just want to play a little music, but we don't need it.
Oh, how the snow is falling. Christmas is almost here.
All right, we love you, Daddy.
Break out the good china from Auntie's wedding, the stuff we only use once a year.
All right, that was a quick break. Welcome back to the big broadcast. We enjoyed Catherine Kelly telling us all about, oh boy, I had no idea she was one of those epidemiologists. I talk a lot, so I mess up some words. And now we welcome to the program from the Susie Show, Susie. Now, you hear me? You hear us, right?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you perfectly.
I first of all, I'm Tom. That's Dottie.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Dottie. I'm feeling a little Dottie today myself.
Yeah. That's BJ Odom there. And of course, John Ferrantino, he's a big fan of yours. And I will let John take over in 10 seconds after I tell you, I got your name all screwed up all over the place. I thought it was Suze with an S-U-Z, but it's really S-O-O-Z-I-E, right?
Actually, I did it intentionally so that no one could ever spell my name correctly. The professional name is S-O-O-Z-I, no E. And then S-U-Z is just me, the beginning of Suzanne.
Okay.
So you got both of them right, except for that E, that pesky E that pops up all the time.
All right.
I came up with that name before the interwebs and before people had to spell it out, and it was just a goofy thing. Susie. Because we used to call each other Susie and Stevie and Joey and Johnny. And I think you guys know Joey. He's a mentalist on your show.
Joey Silky?
Joey Silky?
Joey Silky. You just got to call him Joey from now on.
Right. I call him floating
really
head.
make the mentalism stick.
I call him Joe the floating head, because when he zooms in when he zooms in with his backdrop, all you see is his bald head. I get motion sickness when Silky's on the show. It just flows, goes in, it goes out. Anyway, John, I'm sorry, it's all yours.
Well, this is.
He had hair. Hold on a second. I'm just cutting in because I do that. I knew Joe when he had hair, and when his beard was dark.
Yeah.
We need a picture of
My beard was dark.
So you guys went to Nassau. You went to Nassau Community College together, right?
So close, but no. We went to the more expensive version, Hofstra.
Oh, you went to Hofstra. I didn't know that. Oh, nice.
We have a professor on next Tuesday,
from
Hofstra. Can you believe a guy from Staten Island who's a what does he do?
He's a geologist.
A geologist, a guy from Staten Island that studies rocks. Who the hell ever heard of that? I mean, in Staten Island, they make books.
Yeah, right.
Staten Island, you got to worry about where you dig.
In their heads, you know what I'm talking about.
Forget about it. All right.
Susie lived in Northport when I lived in Huntington. That's how the three of us all kind of knew each other.
Again, adjacent. I was actually Huntington too.
Really? I thought it was always Northport.
Yeah. Well, we're right on the water in
Right.
Centerport.
Susie,
So that's it.
John doesn't like to be corrected, so
Oh, that's not true.
I know that. So I was trying to do it as gently as possible.
I always thought it was Northport.
I know. I hung out in Northport a lot. Did a lot of drinking there at 18.
So anyway, Susie is a balloon artist, and more like it. That's like kind of like almost derogatory to what she does. I mean, she's like a sculptor.
Would you like to know the term I coined? I'm a balloon entertainer.
Oh.
I know. And if you go to balloonertainment.com, if you could spell it, that'll lead to my site if I paid GoDaddy this year. But
yeah,
I came up with that term because I used to call myself I used to say I did balloonacy until I met a guy who patented that name. I couldn't use balloonacy anymore because I would do crazy stuff with balloons. But I do entertain with balloons. It's not about me standing there twisting stuff and giving it and being a balloon making machine, although I do that sometimes. But it's more about combining a whole bunch of different skills that I've learned over the decades.
So there's the picture that I always think about you is you're as a Christmas tree, and you have like a big Christmas tree made out of balloons that you made. Like, how long does something like that take you to make?
It takes me. I actually learned this skill in college, not the skill of making balloons, but the skill of pulling an all-nighter. So I learned that at Hofstra. Yay, Long Island! I pull an all-nighter because, well, I used to justify it as, well, you can't make a balloon costume. Oh, so wait, let's back it up. One of the things I'm known for is building costumes out of balloons that I wear and perform in on stilts, but not always on stilts. Sometimes it's on the ground. And once it's been on a Segway. That's cool.
Well, I have these pictures, so I'm not real good at screen sharing, but let's see if we can get this going correctly.
Those look like balloons. They're not mine, but.
All right, so we got this one here. Can you see it?
Oh yeah. So wait.
I'm not good at this. Let me pause it. That is what are you doing there?
So there I'm doing, it's the movie premiere for the Pixar's Incredibles 2. And I created a balloon body puppet of Elastigirl, which is Mrs. Incredible. And I was on still doing this body puppeteering it. And that is one of my favorite comedians besides John. Of course, John's my favorite. That's Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
And he had just looked up at me and said, "Oh, I love this. I love what you do." And I looked at him and I'm like, "I love what you do too." And then he's holding the little Jack Jack balloon, which was weighted with a little bit of water, and it was on me as an elastic to me, so that it was bouncing around just like that Jack character would do in the movie. And so one of the gigs I do, that I've been doing for about 15 years, is movie premieres for Disney and Pixar.
Yeah,
so I might do one or two a year. So that was,
Was that a one-nighter, all-nighter, or a two all-nighter? How many all-nighters have built that mother?
Oh, that's just a one all-nighter. Because, all right, so that all-nighter skill that I picked up, and I started to say about balloons, I used to justify it by saying, well, I can't build a balloon. Oh, wait, hold on that picture. I can't build a balloon costume, too early because they'll start to deflate. But you actually can. You can build them a few days ahead. You can build it a week ahead if you bag it right. It's just me. My superpower is procrastination and seat of the pants productions kind of thing. So I wouldn't start building till 10 p.m. the night before, and I'd build all night long until I'd have to leave for the gig, and then I was just working on fumes. And I also would justify it like, I'm funnier when I'm working on lack of sleep.
That's how I do. So this
it's like a prayer.
This is you with Jane Fonda on her Netflix show, right?
Well, I'd love to say that's me, but that's actually Lily Tomlin with Jane Fonda.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It is, yeah. So that's Jane and Lily on there, Grace and Frankie, but Lily is holding some specialty balloons I made for the show.
Ah, okay.
And you'll have, if you set this up right, the next, you can see what it is in the next one if you're allowed.
I don't think I did because I didn't know what I was doing this morning. But
that's okay. All right. So wait, if you go back, they were big vajayjay balloons, vagina balloons, and
okay.
So,
can
you go back? Are you that adept with it, or if you can't go back?
You know what? What I had to do here, Susie, was I loaded it into a Premiere file in order for the pictures to be large enough for everybody to see. Individually, they're really small. So I chose the one with the sign. The one without the sign was the gynecological one I should have grabbed. I said that right.
That is correct. That is correct. You said they are gynecological balloons. I love that. In fact, I did end up getting another couple of gigs out of it. One was for a nurse to give her, to give the doctor she worked for, who is a gynecologist, known as the Vagina Whisperer. And she wanted to get a balloon bouquet of balloon vaginas, so I made them in all different colors because they come in all different colors. Got to be careful the way you say that. Yeah. And
I
know. And I even made a little special one that you could wear on a headband because when I did when I did the balloons for Grace and Frankie, I got to be on set all day, kind of as the balloon wrangler, just in case anything popped. Everything was pre-made the night before.
Okay.
It was a collaboration because a friend of mine actually had the gig to begin with, and she couldn't go that day. She said, Susie, what are you doing on Tuesday? I'm like, well, it's my birthday, but what have you got? She goes, oh, would you like to do this? I'm like, would I? So I'm like spending one of my birthdays on the set of Grace and Frankie watching Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda work, and they're holding my vagina balloon.
And already I'm thinking that both of them go, could you make it a little tighter? Anyway.
and Jane Fonda said, there's a market for this? And I looked at her and I went, there is now. But my friend whose gig it was, she goes, Susie, I don't want to be my name affiliated with this because she does children's entertaining at schools and at libraries. So she said, you can take the credit for this. And I said, okay, so now I'm the face of the balloon vaginas.
How about that?
Very good.
Go to balloonvaginas.com. It'll go to my website too. Or vaginaballoons.com. I forgot which one I bought. I'm not kidding. I really bought that one.
You know, I bet
and you're worried about Martling.
I'm worried about what?
And they worried about having Jackie Martling on.
Yeah. Remember, this is.
I'm a nice St. Mary's girl. So that's the movie premiere from Up. That was one of my favorite ones to do because when I have to design a costume for these things, I don't get much because the movie is not out yet and they're very secretive about stuff like that. So I was going to do like a giant a balloon dress as if it was the opposite of the balloons on the top of the house, pulling it up, and they were all going to be going down. But the guy I work with, another performer who books us on these, we kind of collaborated and brainstormed. He said, I think building a character like the bird would be better because it can interact. And I'm like, duh. So it was great. That bird, I was able to puppeteer its head and bonk people on the head. Like Ed Asner, I'm bonking him on the head with it. It was so awesome. So,
did Trump commission the wall behind you?
Thank you. Thank you.
Come on.
It's funny because I was about to say Asner deserves to get hit on the head. So you beat me to the punch. That's a lot of balloons behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't do those. That was there's
look at that.
One of my favorites.
Look at that.
Yes. And I don't think you can see at the bottom, but that was actually in Variety magazine. So that was the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but the first premiere I did. But I've done everyone since then.
And you're on stilts.
In fact, I'm on stilts, and this is a victory story for me. This is one of those teachable moments for people. I really wanted to do the pirate gig, and I wasn't doing balloon costumes on stilts until this. They wanted the juggling pirates on stilts that's what Disney company was putting on the thing. This, by the way, is the red carpet, which ran all the way through Disneyland. It was the longest red carpet in the world. It ran all the way through Disneyland from the get-go, from the beginning, all the way to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, or Caribbean, whichever you say. You guys would know better because you're all cruisers.
Yeah. Not with Disney.
Right?
Too many kids.
What?
Not with Disney, though. Too many kids there. They wouldn't like
Yeah,
that.
okay. No, yeah, okay, we won't go there. So I don't juggle. I've tried juggling. I can't juggle. I won't juggle. I just can't. I tried it. But so I really wanted the gig, and I'm like, well, I want to be a pirate on stilts doing something. I said, how about if I make a pirate ship out of balloons that I wear on stilts? And they're like, okay. And I'm like, okay. And then I did all this research and looked at everybody's balloon pirate ship and then designed a big one. That was about 8 or 9 feet long.
Wow.
And it was great. It was great. I came out and people have been waiting all day long for this. There were thousands of people there. So everybody had been, and we're hired to entertain people while they're waiting for the stars to come down. And they're like, they're loving it until the stars started coming. And then they turned and they're like, move the ship. And I'm like, arr, you know. But I was doing things like, you know, those air cannons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a big giant glaucoma test for those of us over a certain age, which shoots air at you. So I'd be shooting cannonball balloons at people from there. It was really stupid and fun.
Cool.
That's great.
And this picture, that's one of my favorite guys in the world. Do you recognize who that is?
Gary Marshall.
Yeah.
It is Gary Marshall. That was his 80th birthday party. He's wearing, that's a giant balloon birthday cake hat in his favorite colors, which is purple, which I didn't realize till that day. And that was my favorite color in high school. I mean, I was known for wearing purple every single day. I fit it into my high school uniform, which did not have purple in it. I found a way. But, you know, weirdos are weirdos from day one, aren't they?
That's
That
great.
was me.
And when you did his birthday party, right? Did he have you? Yeah.
Well, it was actually at his granddaughter's birthday party. So I had entertained their family at a number of events. I used to do this a big movie producers party with all these A-listers, and his grandkids would come running up to me, Susie's here, because I would do it every year. And then he came running up to me. Oh no, he wasn't running. He came up to me and he's like, balloon lady, and I'm like, hey, Grandpa. I didn't realize it was Gary Marshall when I first met him, because he wasn't his perky self. He had a little bit of a stroke earlier that year. And I didn't recognize him. So I'm entertaining him for like 15, 20 minutes just as a grandpa. And then I saw somebody kowtowing to him. And I asked his granddaughter, hey, Sienna, and she's like 5 years old, what's your granddad's name? And she's like, Gary Marshall. And I'm like, oh. And I do that inner face plant. But it was the best way to meet him.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't worried about impressing Gary Marshall. I was just doing my shit.
Yeah.
Right? And he loved it. And I'm like, you sound like you're from Brooklyn too. You're from Brooklyn? He goes, no, the Bronx. And I'm like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And we're back and forth bantering for 15, 20 minutes. So he fell in love with me. I fell in love with him. His daughter said, oh, we should get you to do Dad's birthday party this year. I did his party. Then I did his granddaughter's party. And at the granddaughter's party, he's like a blue lady. And he always gave me a hug, and his wife gave me a hug. That's part of the family. He said, I wrote a part for you in my new movie. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And I'm just bantering with him. And he goes, hope you like to travel. I'm like, I love to travel to Ohio. And I'm like, yeah, because they, were shooting out of town. It didn't hit me until I got in the car, said, leave. Did Gary Marshall just say he wrote a part for me in his new movie? and I said, any actor, and I used to want to be an actor when I was a kid. When I was at Hofstra, I was studying theater and art. And that's what all I wanted was to be in the movies, be famous, blah, everybody loved me, blah, 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 right? So, and I came in a different circle to this. It was this full circle all the way around it. And I'm like, oh my God, what any actor would give for anybody like Gary Marshall to say, Blue Lady, I wrote a part for you in my new movie. Jeez. And I went, that wasn't even someone like Gary Marshall. It was Gary Marshall.
Yeah.
And it was one of those pinch me moments. And at that point, I was driving away from the house and I looked up, there's the Hollywood sign all of a sudden looming because it was in his daughter's place in the Hollywood Hills. And the Hollywood sign is looming and it was almost like unicorns and rainbows and unicorn forests. And it was like, oh my God. It was such a cool pinch me moment. I was like, oh my God. And it was great. And I was on set and got credit and everything. He didn't write anything for me though. I'm looking through the script when I got there and I'm like, are there any lines for me? And she's like, hey. Oh no, Gary told the writers, you had your own shtick, and so they didn't have to write anything for him. I'm like, okay. And then, it's the movie's Mother's Day. It was his last movie. Now here I am thinking, I told him, I'll be in anything. I'll be the girl drinking coffee at the diner. I want to be in every movie from now on. And
it was the last one. I remember the movie. I remember
yeah.
that. So
they had a big vagina in that too. I didn't make that.
So you didn't end up on the cutting room floor. You actually
no, just the talking part. But I mean, I'm actually in 2 scenes, and people have seen me and not known I was in it. Like one kid was watching the movie in the theater, and he saw me. And he goes, and he stood up. And he's like, "That's Susie!" And he's screaming, "That's Susie!" in the theater. It was like his mom, because I entertained at his parties too. That kid.
Oh, that's
hilarious.
I have to ask this because I'm sure everybody watching and listening wants to know the answer. You've taken it to a different level, obviously, to a giant level, but it all started with one balloon, and you realize it's something, and you must have a machine that blows all the balloons up, right?
Yeah, I do. I have many machines. The picture on screen now is from my school assembly show that I wrote with my friend Annie Benani, who, by the way, is the one who does not want to be the face of the balloon vagina. Called her out. Her head is inside that balloon now. We blow that up with a very special machine called a leaf blower, but she ends up getting inside the balloon. But I just looked at the time and I'm like, oh my God, what do we have? 4 minutes left or 5 minutes left?
We always go over.
Okay. Oh, good. I'm fine with that. Me too. My whole background is I studied a lot of theater arts and visual arts and magic, improv, mime, clown theater with Avner the Eccentric. You should get him on. He's excellent. And I did mystery school with Jeff McBride. So for anybody who's in the industry and knows any of these people, I studied improv with Gary Austin, who started the Groundling Theater, and people who like Pee Wee Herman came from his classes, and a lot of the Saturday Night Live came from his original classes. I was with Gary for a few years, and so I've always poured different masters' teachings into me to find out what is the Susie Show. The Susie Show is basically anything in the moment that I'm doing to entertain people. And my venues have always been interactive entertainment at events, whether it's a lot of social events, like back in New York, where I started was bar mitzvahs and corporate events and society events. And then I did some trade show work where it was really just me being a presenter with personality. I've done the movie premieres. I do birthday parties. I do festivals in China. I do in Japan and other places.
Wow.
So it's all really interactive, on my feet thinking. And it wasn't always with balloons. Balloons are just one of the tools I use. Stilts with something. But what you said, it all started with one balloon. And I want to say it all started with one balloon that basically we have Joe Silky to thank for my whole darn career at the beginning. Because Joe and I were friends in college. We were art students together. And
he had a magic show and you were the assistant.
That's right. Once I did it. Once I am not cut out to be an assistant.
Me either.
I need Susie. It's a Susie show, so don't mess with that.
Yeah.
But, and then I did.
Joe goes, all I needed was her to carry a couple of things, and it became her show.
Yeah, it's really.
All right.
Oh my God! Somebody even picked me to be a volunteer once. I'm like, don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me, and
that's it.
And he picked me, and I was really not a good assistant. But that wasn't for Joe. That was for some random magician guy. But anyway, Joe, I'm so thankful to Joe. He introduced me to a bunch of people like John, our other friend Steve Rodman. So Joe and Steve Rodman taught me my first balloons and magic and stilts, and
so
they started my career.
What has this COVID-19 done to our business? We are cruise ship. I'm a cruise ship entertainer for the last 20, long time. And my wife is a cruise director for 31 years. And John was many, many years on ships. BJ's a radio guy.
38 years doing this. My first gig was with Joe Silky, but I should screen share that because he's in clown makeup. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Or we'll save that for the next time I'm on the show.
So is this stopped your business though? Are you on hold or there's still?
Oh, hold on, wait. My entertainment business during COVID. Hold on a second.
Very well done.
I've done a couple of balloon decorating things for people who ordered something for birthdays, and that a lot of balloon artists are doing that. They're doing lawn art. I have no desire to do that. Other people are doing virtual shows. I have no desire to do that. I did do one party, socially distanced, and just put the kid on a pedestal 6 feet away from me, and I did a balloon magic show. But the kids were still kind of had a shield on my face. I had a ding. I had, I was wearing a birth control. I was like, get away from me. But no, nothing. And but the thing is, a couple of years ago, I started a second business. Now, I've been an entertainer full time for 38 years. Thank you, Joe, and Steve and everything. And my husband's a musician, so this is not a part-time job. This is a full-time income as a performer, right? And a couple of years ago, I changed my health because he was getting larger and larger and larger. And as we do as we get older, even if I tried to do some exercise, but I got healthier and I lost 50 pounds. And I did it working with a health coach. And then I also, by the way, hold on, let me show you. I can wear shorts. I'm 62 years old. I tell my age in show business. I don't friggin' care. You see this? You see what this is? You know what that is? That's abundance.
There you go.
I live in a state of abundance. What? So anyway, I looked at my retirement fund that year and I said, there's not enough fun in here. I talked to my health coach and I said, tell me, a couple of my friends wanted me to help them lose their weight.
Sure.
So I became a health coach, but I said, show me the business plan on this. And she did. And it was a really healthy business plan. And I started coaching people. And last year was the first full year as a coach. And I matched my income as an entertainer simultaneously while I'm doing my gig as a health coach.
For you.
And now during COVID, oh my God, I completely support us being a health coach. And I'm helping people. And it's not just about weight loss. It's not a diet. It's a lifestyle change. And it's not like I added these boobs on. Actually, I took them off. You know, it's not that kind of lifestyle change. In fact, this shirt, oh my gosh, this is my victory shirt. When I lost the 50 pounds, I bought this. This was a balloon animal shirt that was in Target children's department. And there was no way I was going to get this in my large size. So when I lost enough weight, I said, let me try this. It's my victory shirt.
Nice.
So anyway, so I've been coaching people to better health, but it's not just about weight loss. It's about mindset changes. I've learned how not to be frustrated by stuff anymore. I don't stress out anymore because I've learned how to deal with the world with what it gives us. The world isn't doing anything to us. People are like, oh my God, look what happened to me today. Oh, this always happens, blah, blah, blah. People have this negative, and I've learned how to view the world, this opportunity. What can we do? You know, how do we make the world a better place, starting with us? It's not so woo-woo. It's actually being happier is dopamine in our brain. I love that it starts with dope. You know, so anyway, I've started over 300, almost 300 people on their health journeys, and I've helped other people earn a living now. Because a lot of my first clients, or a lot of my clients have been other performers, and many of them have become coaches too, and they're paying their bills now because they're coaching. So this is so rewarding because I'm helping people. And it's also humbling because people are coming off of their medications, like for diabetes and high blood pressure, because they're getting healthy. So my goal now is to get our industry healthy again, to turn the round balloon people into skinny balloon people, but also...
This is really quite fitting because our guest in the last half hour talked about food and eggs and all kinds of things to pile it on, and now we're closing this out by talking about how to take it off.
I'm laughing because I'm laughing because when I called Susie, she goes, "What will I talk about for a half hour?"
Yeah, everybody said that. Well, we do have to close it out only because it's BJ's.
I know you didn't even get to me on stilts at the White House. That was like the other pinch me moment. So we'll save that till next time.
Come back and do it again. And plus, I'll be better with those pictures. I'm learning how to screen share now. And it's, as you get older, you're not really good at picking things up too quick. But I was going to ask you for the website for the vagina.com. But instead, is there a website for your coaching?
You know what? It's actually my Facebook page, and I invite everybody to friend me on Facebook and just tell me where you saw me.
Okay, and that page is
SuzanneHerring.com. Okay. No, Suzanne Herring on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Suzanne Herring. I'll put it up on our site too. You probably have more followers than we do, but we growing every day. We really are. We thank you very much. And
you ever get to the Magic Castle, ask for the Susie tour. She takes you to places that people don't even know exist.
Is that right?
Yeah. Even I don't know they exist. I just sang a hole through the wall. Let's do this.
Well, I hate that we have to run because you're a wonderful person and a great guest, and it's been really a lot of fun. Next time, please come back and we'll get those videos.
Oh my God, they're really fun.
We'd love to have you. Great guest. And don't go anywhere.
Love to be had.
We have an official closing here. A good friend of ours who is an entertainer and a comedy ventriloquist was on our show. And because we are cruise industry people, he happens to do a very good Greek captain. And on the ships, if anything goes wrong, they, what is it, Dottie? 7 short, 1 long.
7 short, 1 long.
If you hear that 7 short, 1 long, and the guy's name is Stavros, you're pray. That's the only thing I'd say. It's kind of self-explanatory.
I'm going to ask my husband about that. He used to play on ships.
Oh, he
So
knows.
good.
Okay. He knows, especially. No, I shouldn't pick on the Greek people. They're lovely people. Whatever.
We are here. We are here. 7 loud and 1 short blast on the 5th whistle. And put your head between your legs and kiss your kulu. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Susie.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the big broadcast from the Best at Sea Entertainment Studios in sunny Central Florida with Tom Drake, legendary comedy magician John Ferrantino, the producer Dottie. Make sure to listen every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Plus, if you missed any of today's big broadcast, download from Podcast Central or today's video after 2 on the World Wide Web at bestatsearadio.com. I'm the voice of Best at Sea Radio, BJ Odom. Till next time, see ya.